Hey guys, welcome back to Release the Craftin. Priscilla here with a little walkthrough today. We're gonna do a walkthrough of my Mass Make March ephemera challenge because I completed this challenge, and kind of a big deal because I have commitment issues. Not that you could ever tell by looking at my channel. But I do. So I tend to have a hard time doing extra long challenges, especially something like this, which I was like, ooh, this might be a little bit out of my like wheelhouse because I don't typically mass make, like I said at the start of this. If you weren't aware that I was doing this challenge, then you haven't been watching Storycraft. So I suggest you go check that out because I did all of the ephemera you're going to see here in that series. And I talked about why I was doing this in the beginning of one of the Storycraft episodes. I don't remember which one. It's there. It's in the history. But I thought it would be fun to get in here, talk about my experience with this because I don't typically mass make because I just don't have like the mental bandwidth for that, or the physical space for that. So I try to like just keep things pretty centered and focused on whatever I'm currently making, and that's it. But I decided I wanted to use up some like Galaxy Celestial style themed paper pads, and in the process make a couple books with the stuff that I make from it. So like make the stuff and then make it into something I can also get rid of at the same time, thereby making the space. And I think we're gonna do some more of that here. So after this ephemera, I'm going to start making the books, and then if I do anything additional for that, I'll film that and put that up probably in Storycraft, or maybe as a separate video. I haven't decided yet, but I am going to finish up making those books now that I have finished making a big chunk of the ephemera. Although for me this is a lot of ephemera, but I'm still like, it's not quite enough because I want more, which is okay because I still have more paper. I did manage to use up like 2 of the paper pads I have though, so that's like amazing. I love it. I still have more. I realized after I had pulled out like my initial stack of paper pads that I was like, oh, I'm gonna use these, that I actually have more in the same colorway, just farther down my stack of paper. So yeah, I can be making celestial astrology books for a long time. I'm not going to. I'm just going to use what I pulled out and save those for another day. But I was like, oh, you need to stop buying this particular type of paper until you cannot find it anymore because you have a lot in your stash. But it's so cool and it's amazing and I love it. So we're going to make some books here and I'm going to show you guys what I made. This was a pretty fun experience for me. I gave myself like an arbitrary time limit, so I mostly stuck to it in the way where once the timer went off, I was like, all right, wrap it up, you gotta come to a stopping point. But I didn't want to do anything halfway, so if I wasn't finished with like the bare bones of the ephemera piece that I was working on, I wrapped those up, so like within the next couple of minutes. So most of this stuff took me somewhere between like 17 to 20 minutes, with a couple segments taking longer, especially words are really hard. Especially the sewing stuff takes me forever because I'm just not needlecraft savvy, and I struggle with that, so that took me a little bit longer, as well as the snippet strips took me a while, but I also wasn't in a rush. I just sort of had a good time playing with that. So the video for that is like standalone because I did so much and so much extra beyond the time point because I wanted to use up all my scraps, because part of my like craft strategy, technique, is to craft down to the last scrap until I have like little tiny pebbles and pieces that I can't use for anything like meaningful, so that I don't feel bad about wasting it, so that I don't have to have a scrap box. So doing the snippet strips was kind of how I eliminated the majority of my like scrap pile left. So I think I just have like a couple pieces of scraps left, which can be used in the making. So I have these 2 little things, and this is all the scraps I have left after doing a month of ephemera, which to me is a win. And I can use this stuff up while I'm putting the books together, so I'm not even worried about this. But yeah, that's like my philosophy, is to scrap down to the last scrap, or craft down to the last scrap, so that I don't have to have a scrap box, which is why I struggle with like use up your scraps type of things, because I don't have scraps. I have to make scraps to do those types of things. And that's just because I am like really committed to reducing bulk in my craft space, just to keep it manageable. Not because I don't have the space for it. I really do. But I try to keep it manageable so that it doesn't become, like one of those situations where I end up buried underneath all my craft supplies. At any rate, I'm rambling. This mask make March was done by Cindy at Studio Lou. I tagged her a bunch of times. I will tag her on this video as well. Definitely check her out. She did the whole series. My mat is sliding because I'm leaning on it. She did a whole series every day. She did like hour-long videos, which is insane to me, but like kudos to her. She did amazing. It was really inspirational. I scrap lifted a bunch of stuff from her videos as well, so that was also very inspiring. But she does the whole series on her page. You can also check out the hashtag. Some other people made stuff too. It's right here. And I would just get this as like a fun thing that you can keep on hand whenever you have downtime, if you're like a journal maker, to like add stuff to your stash, if you do like to have mass make items like on hand to like pick from, because it is really useful. It's just not how I typically create, but I did this time. So let's jump into it. I'll go day by day because my video was not in order particularly. Like I sort of kept section by section, but I do jump around a lot in the videos, and it may be a little hard to tell because it's all like sped up which prompt I was making. So we'll go through it together. I have this box, which is like everything I have crafted and curated for this. So I'm going to show you what's in this box. It is packed full. I do still have space to put more stuff in here, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to show you the stuffs. So I'm going to try to show you in a way where this box is not in my way, but also accessible. So day one was journal cards. And I only wrote down the numbers of like how much stuff I made. Mostly for my own like takeaway, is to see like how much stuff I could get done in the amount of time that I gave myself. But I did keep in mind a lot that it was a very arbitrary timeline, and I was the only person trying to stick to this timeline. What did I do here? I don't know. Sorry, I'm digging through this to make sure I find everything, because it just occurred to me that I also shoved a bunch of stuff into this box to make it fit. So finding some things may be difficult as we go down the road. But I guess I just cut these ones out. Yeah, I think that's what I did. I cut these ones out and then back these ones. Is that what I did? It has to be. Hold on. Brain loading. Yes, because this is not 24. So I cut some of them out from the paper kit. So I have some journaling cards to use and tuck into spots. And then I back some of these. I don't know. I think I'm trying to keep like the white color for like inking purposes. So I don't think I'm going to back these with like a paper. Plus I like this little frame as like you could journal in here and then it'll be all colorful around it. So I think that's what I'm going to do. What I did after the video was stitch all of these. So I have like a full set of the Zodiac, which I just really love for like these larger style journaling cards. And I need to move faster because it's just now occurring to me how long this video can be if I don't like keep this at a pace. So yeah, I got some really neat journaling cards. I may have sewn some stuff together. Oh, I did. This is fun for me too because every day that I did this, I just shoved it into the box and have not looked back at it. And you may be like wondering like if this is the final stop for some of these things. It's not. Like a lot of this is designed specifically to be like the bare bones so that I can go back and add stuff. So I may, if I feel like compelled to, go back and like add like a quote or a phrase or like a sticker or something on top. I sewed all of these together. Like, and then I didn't even cut them apart. So yes. So yeah, so I may go back and add more stuff to these. I may not, but I wanted to have like the skeleton of the ephemera piece like done so that I could go back and easily decorate them as I'm like building them into the book. It is also now occurring to me that, oh, there was like, I think it's like incense dust, because that tracks. I don't have a place, like a landing pad for these after I pull them out of the box, which could be potentially problematic, but we're just gonna roll with it. I'm gonna make myself a space. And then day 2, we did tags. And for tags, I originally was like, because I bought these chipboard tags that, like, the backs are like this. They're really pretty. They're like foiled. There's 4 different designs. There's 50 pieces, which is absurd. I need to figure out what to do with all of these because I have never once used them. I think maybe one time I pulled one of each out to use for a different book, but I've never used them since, and they're really pretty, so I'm like, I gotta use them up. This is definitely the project to do them, but I didn't know how to, like, go back and decorate them. I mean, not that I don't know how, I just didn't know what to do to decorate them, or how best to utilize them, because they are chipboard, so they are kind of bulky, so I don't want to put like 6 of them into the same book, you know what I mean? Like, it'll be too weighty, but they are really pretty. So I was like, I'm just gonna skip this prompt because I have a whole box of 50 tags that closes very oddly and I don't get it. But then, while I was like digging into my scraps or my stash to see like what cool stuff I had to use for the tickets, I was trying to find some tickets. I found these little tags, and they're like a vellum paper tag. So I inked them up with alcohol ink, and then like super quickly dried them so that the dried up alcohol ink, like if you get a lot of alcohol ink in one spot, when it dries it gets a little bit tacky, and then I use that to like gild them and give them, there's cat hair on everything. Oh my god. Sorry. It just occurred to me that my cat may have also slept on this box at some point. But yeah, so I gilded them and they came out with these really like beautiful celestial colors. I don't know if I want to like add like a focal point or just leave them as is, because they're just, that doesn't work. They're just like really pretty, and then they work like as sun catchers. Not that you'll be able to see because there's no sunlight for starters, but like it catches the light really nicely. And I think that's really fun, and I don't know if I want to cover this up. So these were the tags I ended up making for the tag prompt, but I have a box of 50-ish tags, probably like 46 tags, to figure out what to do with as well. And I'm probably going to make more tags because you can never have too many tags, right? Like, that's the backbone of journals. Tags. Not the spine, not the cover, not the pages, the tags. It's always tags. Ooh, gold flakes everywhere. I'll fuss with that later. So then, for day 3, it was pockets. And my pocketses are here? No. Here. Sorry. Again, like I said, I shoved everything into this box for the sole purpose of making it fit. So this is going to be a little bit chaotic. So I just made like really basic pockets that have some layers to them. So this is fun. It's like a double tuck spot. And then I'm definitely going to go back and decorate these. That's for sure. Like, this is just making the bones so that I can do this. But I think these are really fun. I really like the colors. I just like loved being able to like mix up the papers from like several different pads of paper to get like a similar cohesive aesthetic, but like different than like what the actual initial paper pad was. And for some reason I only managed to make 8 because apparently this took me a lot of time to brain. I will say I kept forgetting which way the little corner pieces were supposed to go, and then I got confused as I was cutting them and ended up cutting the corners the same way, so I had to keep like adding a pocket to make another corner, and I would keep doing it wrong. It was so frustrating. That's why, you know, like your spatial awareness is not coming through like you need it to. And then the next one was belly bands. And these ones I kept pretty simple. I think because I want to put like a giant like focal piece on here. I have some like really cool like moons and stuff that I think would look really good. So I think that's why I kept them pretty basic, so that whatever I put on top of them will have time to shine. But I just added like this piece of sari silk and then used a little skinny strip to lock it down. And then I stitched over those. So those are really cool. I'm excited to like embellish those. And then we had fabric flips, which like this one kind of stumped me a little bit because I don't typically think about them as stuff that I can make ahead. So then I was like, well, how can you make a fabric flip ahead that's also like visually interesting to yourself? Not anybody else, just me, because it has to be something that pleases me. So I added this little paper piece and then made them layered fabric flips, which was really great. I got to use up a lot of this fabric. I think it's like lame is the actual name of this like material. But I got to layer it onto stuff really, really nicely. And I just chose some stuff that was like in the same colorways as what I was using. And I like this gold feather fabric. I think I got this from April, actually. It's really pretty. It's like a, I don't know if you can see it that well. It's like a shimmery gold color fabric. And then this is the last of the scrap pieces I had from one of my junk journal grimoire fabrics that I used. So I got to use them here, which was also very delightful. And so I thought these would be fun. They add some interest. I used a ruffle that April stitched for me here. For some pretty fun little fabric-y flips. And then clusters. What did I make for clusters? Ooh, hold on. I gotta think about it. Okay, I remembered. It was not paper clusters. It was fabric clusters. And I made a bunch. But this is like one of the ones that I was talking about where like I knew that like I wanted to have a finished piece, so I didn't stop when the timer stopped. I just kept gluing until I was done gluing and stapling and everything was down. And these ones I stapled because I think I'm going to put something else over the top of them as well. So I'm not too worried about them staying. I should have maybe stapled it better. I will fix these when I go to like actually put them in the book. But I made some of these like big giant clustery pieces, which I think will make really nice like tuck spot type stuff. Because they're pretty sturdy. I use these, I got these like gifted to me, somebody destashed, and they made those like rodeo, like bolero tie pins or whatever, and they had a bunch of these circles pre-cut and like stitched together, and they make a really nice sturdy piece that I think will make a really interesting like tuck spot or embellishment as I go forward. So I got a lot of nice ones here. I made 14 of these, which was probably super ambitious. I should have like maybe only kept it to like 6, and I probably would have finished in the time allotted, but yeah, I didn't. So here we are. But I do like these. I think they're really fun. They're really different than what I'm used to making, because I wanted something that was a little bit more visually stunning or like eye-catching. And then I made a bunch of page tabs, and I feel like I put them in a baggie. I maybe should have planned this better. I did put them in a baggie. So I made a bunch of page tabs, just out of like little scrap pieces that were left over from cutting stuff down. I made 34 page tabs, so that's a lot to work with. I'm not taking them out of here. That's silly. And then some altered paper clips, which I know I did not put in a bag and just threw at the bottom of this box. So here we go. I made a bunch. I'm not going to dig around the bottom of this box for all of them. But I made a bunch, and I made them in the style of Joy Sparkbird Studios, something along those lines. I tagged her in the video, or linked her video. I don't remember. I linked it in the video where I made these, and it's just like a completely enclosed style of paperclip. I don't know, I'm trying to like show you with my fingers. And I could show you with the page. And they also have this like built-in tab to them. So these books will be very tabby. But I do like this, and this was a lot of fun to make. They're really easy. I do think they need like an additional embellishment because I can see the paper clip on here. I think, yeah, there, you can pick it up there. And that bothers me. Not like I think it bothers anybody else. They serve their purpose, but I think I pressed too hard while I was gluing them together to make sure that they stayed glued. And yeah, I think they need a little something, something. But I like them. I do like them a lot. And we made 11 of these. I'm just going to toss them back into the bottom of the box. I think that's okay. And then we did flip and tip outs. And I think these are those. Is this right? This is right. Okay. And I made 10 of these. 5 each way. And then some of them are pockets and some of them are just like photo mat journaling spot site type of things. And I really love how these came out. I was really random with like how I picked like the embellishments for the front. So I just got a lot of really interesting things. I tried to keep it really loose, and then I went back and sewed everything sloppily because that's the aesthetic I'm going for. And it's not because I'm bad at sewing. But I do like how these came out. I think they're really fun. So like this one's a pocket. And then like there's a journaling spot here, which is also a pocket. And then I went the other direction, so I had the other side of the pages. This one's like a tall pocket. I really like these. They're plain on the back. I'm going to leave them that way. Like I said, I want the colors to be like inked and not like paper textured. I do love these. I love how sparkly this paper is. It brings me lots of joy. And then we got little booklets, which are upside down for some reason. 8. No, this is notepads, not booklets. Woo! All right, here we go. Those were easier to find. So these are little booklets I made out of envelopes. And I think I'm going to glue something over here and then make this into a pocket. So they all come with a little pocket. I like this little triangle thing, so I sewed that into each and every one of them. So that will persist, and then I'll just decorate the front of them. And we made 8 of those, and they're just little scrappy paper booklets with some dyed paper and stuff like that. They're really cute. I really like these. I like the fact that I got to use up a bunch of envelopes to do this. And then I just have to decorate it at the end. I may make some of them with like a top loading pocket, I think, actually, as opposed to a side loading pocket. I may just cut off a little bit right here. And then, ooh, or I could circle punch this and then like just slit up the edges. And then it'll be a top loading pocket. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'll decorate the front and we'll have like a tag in the back. And I think that'll be really cute together. I think there's like 2... Yes, there's 2 of every style, or yeah, of paper. We got a nice little packet of booklets, and then we made button cards, which I'll be honest, guys, I've never made a button card. I don't think I've ever even seen a button card in person. I had to watch Cindy's video to like get an idea on what I was supposed to do for this one. And then I realized I can't sew, so that took me a minute. And then I also, you'll see in the video, some of these got like stitched through the actual like paper, like the holes were so close that they just fell off. So I had to glue some of them back into place because I was like, ugh, can't sew this again. But I went around and like crazy stitched around a bunch of them. And I used my zipper foot, the like little tiny skinny one, to get closer to the buttons so that I wouldn't hit them with my presser foot. So just, if you're going to do the same thing, just be aware you need to change the foot on your sewing machine. Otherwise, you will run over your buttons and ruin your machine. So I want to put like something neat here at the top. Not just like buttons, but I want it to be like something. I haven't decided yet. But something cool right here. And then I just made a couple button cards and tried to match colors or space type things in the theme of the paper. So like, this one gave me like cosmic Milky Way vibes, and then like this one made me think of like a meteor. So that's what I did for button cards. And these are really cute. I actually have never made them before, but they are really cute. So I do like getting to try something new for that prompt in particular. And then we made greeting cards, which I made a lot of those. This one was another one of those ones that took me a little bit longer because I had a very, very clear vision in mind of what I wanted to make. And this one is also, greeting cards and envelopes are together on this because I put them all in the envelopes. I'm not going to take them all out because that's a lot of time, but I will show you all the envelopes. I did stamp and emboss all of them. So there's either space to like journal in here whatever you want, or decorate or something. I haven't decided if I'm going to like up the decoration on these because I kind of like how they stand alone. This is like a gold toned of paper, and I used silver on this one to get it extra sparkly, and just did some nice embossing. I'm really happy with how these came out. I think they're really pretty. I wish you could see there's like a subtle sheen to this paper. I don't think the camera will pick it up. So it does make everything a little bit extra sparkly. So that's those. And then the card inside, I'll show you guys one. So there's just a little tiny greeting card in there. And then I think some of them are pockets. I'm not going to test it out right now. And there's just a little card to like write a note, give a gift, do something. I don't know. I haven't decided their final fate, but they're going in a book. And then made some bigger ones. I'm going to make a couple of regular like 9x6 size journals, and then like one giant grimoire. So if you are interested in purchasing a book from me in the future, those will be in the shop if you're interested in this series. That's what I'm making, is a couple of smaller books to fit smaller stuff, and then one giant grimoire to fit bigger stuff. But here is the giant card. I think the big ones are pockets. I think the small ones aren't pockets. I think the big ones are pockets. I don't remember. I have to go back and watch my own video. But there's the card. And I got to use up a lot of those like journaling cards, and those like 6x6 cards that they usually give you in paper pads. And then I did some like really grungy, messy like constellation embossing, and I was not like precious about it at all. I just really like the contrast of like the black and silver. So that's what I did. And I had some fun with that. Got to play with my embossing powders. So I always love that. And then we have shaker cards, which did double duty for CD envelopes because I don't have CD envelopes in my stash. So I had to make my own, which I did in the video. You can watch it all. And then I made them into shaker cards because while I watched Cindy's video, when she did her CD envelopes, all I kept thinking about was how they would make fantastic and really easy to make shaker cards. So I was like, I have to make CD envelope shakers. So that's what I did, and they bring me joy because they are magical and mystical. And I used some artwork from the space art book I have, this like vintage space art book of like artist depictions of what they thought space would like look like in space exploration in the future. So they collected a bunch of those images, they put them in that book, and I used them in here, and I'm going to be using them throughout that. And I just made a bunch of really cool shaker cards. I love this. It's like a galaxy with like all the stars. They bring me so much joy. I also really love this star confetti that I got. I picked it up specifically for this because I was like, you have to have sparkly stars if you're going to make sparkly star books. And they just, the sound is perfect. So yes, they bring me lots of joy. I'm really happy with how they came out. I think they're fantabulous. And that's what I did for that day. And then finally, we can get to little notepads here. Because that was day 14. I made 6 of these little notepads. And these are very scrappy little notepads. Oh, I stapled them. I was trying to remember what I did. Because I was like, why can't I open this? So they're meant to be like that fold-up style, like notepad. And they just have some really scrappy bits. There's some jelly printing in here. And then some extra crusty, like, nearly burnt paper that I just love the sound and texture of. So I thought they really were fun to add here. But they also have the right colors that I was going for. So that's kind of an idea of what's happening here. There's some really pretty paper. Little paper bits. Some pearlescent vellum. And all of them. And so I made 6 of those. And I just have to decorate the front. so I can put them in my books. Although I may leave them plain because I kind of just like this style. And then it kind of encourages you to get a little bit more scrappy with it. So you can tear these out, use them in your journal, and they won't be so precious if it's not like decorated. I haven't decided. I'll probably decorate it. But we'll see. I'm not going to pressure myself into doing it. And then we made some collage boards, which is another great scrap busting idea. Stuff is falling on me. Ugh. Gosh. So I made a bunch, and this is one of the ones I spent a little bit more time on because I wanted to use up all my scraps. And this will get cut down probably into larger tags and pockets, but I also backed them with some dyed paper from our experiments with color. Some sheets that I knew I wasn't going to come back and revisit. Not the ones that we double processed. Those ones I still have to show you guys. I should probably make that video after this one. Just the ones that I did the first time around. But I really love how these came out. I just love all the things here. So like, it'll either turn into journaling cards or I will fold them into very sturdy pages. Because I think some of them would make some really nice like standalone pages with like the journaling spaces in here. And I don't know what else. I may use them for the covers. I haven't decided. And I do really love them. I really love this one. And I kind of wish I had more of these like strips to make more of these like quilted sheets, because this is probably one of my favorite ones. And it would make a very excellent like journal cover on its own like that, but I don't know what I'll use it for. I haven't decided. I do just really love it the most, I think. And I love all the sparkly things. Like these papers bring me so much joy, like just being so sparkly and like aesthetically pleasing, that I know why I have so many paper pads. It's literally just because I love this look. And then I did postcards, which was kind of a twofer in the way that I also turned that into my Rolodex prompt later on. But I made just some of these like basic recipe cards because April reminded me that I have this stamp and I never use it. And I think because we're a crowd of witchy people here, we can always use recipe cards to put down like kitchen witchery or like oils and incense and potions and brews and stuff like that. And then I will decorate this side before I put them in the book. And then I did a bunch of stamping of this postcard stamp. It says carte postale on it. So I did a bunch of that stamping. And, oh yeah, I sewed these all together. And like I said, this did double duty for Rolodex cards, which is the very next prompt, so I will show you those. But I stamped a bunch of postcards, so that's how I covered that prompt. And then I have a couple that are left undecorated, so I'll probably go back and add something to the top of those. But then for Rolodex cards, hopefully, probably, most likely, I'm going to say with confidence, because I don't think I'm going to put this out right away. By the time you guys see this digital will be available in my shop. But I have a Rolodex card digital with some different constellations. So it has the constellation in the back, and then like a little line drawing of the image that the constellation is supposed to represent. And then because I stitched them all together to keep it quick, just to lock in all those like threads and stuff I added. So I had to cut these apart. But that's what I did for the Rolodex style. So the entire digital sheet is on the front of these postcards. So those turn into little journaling cards to tuck in to tuck spots in the book. And I love these. I'm really happy with how they came out. I think they're really fun. I think the little gold threads add a lot of fun texture. And then we already did envelopes because those were with greeting cards. And then we had floating pockets. Floating pockets. What were the floating pockets? Ooh, what were the floating pockets, guys? Are these floating pockets? They are! Okay, so then I made some floating pockets which did double duty for die cuts. And I just made them these little like pouch style pockets so you can tuck something in there. And then I used some already made die cuts as the embellishment, also to like weigh the flap down. So we got 7 of these out of that little experiment. And I do like these. I really like this as a way to use up these like die cuts that are just sitting in my stash. I really like this one. I think she's really pretty. And sparkly. So that was floating pockets. And yes, I am running out of room to put this stuff now that I'm emptying out the box. And we did floating pockets, tuck spots. I did some of these corner tucks that Shayna made for me out of book paper. So I used the holographic embossing powder. Ugh. Focus. Ooh, have I been out of focus this whole time? Oh god, I hope not. I hope that was just a weird moment with these. Ooh, I'm not doing this again. No second takes. So yeah, I used the holographic embossing powder as a resist, and then I inked over the top of it with some mermaid markers and got them nice and watery so they have like this cool galaxy effect. So I embossed on those circles using just a regular like artist circle tool. Circle stencil? I don't know what you call it, but it's for like making a perfect circle. And it comes with a bunch of little circles on it. So I just did them sort of cosmically random. And there are a bunch of these corner pockets that Shayna made me. I've had them sitting in my stash for a while. I need to like get her to make me more, but I can make my own. I really could. But I just like Shayna's. She does really great coffee dyeing. But I used some of those. So we made 6 of these little corner tucks. And I think they'll get like a little collaged embellishment. In fact, I think they'll get some pieces of the snippet strips on them. They're really nice, and I'm really happy with those. Everything is glittery now. And then tuck spots, we did CD envelopes already, and then we did washi tape, which I've already used a bunch of to make my snippet strips, which was a very satisfying experience, getting to use the washi tape I made. And this is one of those ideas that I scrap lifted directly from Cindy, because I have a bunch of sticker paper that just never panned out for what I wanted to use it for. So I watercolored it and made it into galaxy washi tape. And it's really pretty, and it was very satisfying to use. And Smokey assisted me in the making of it in his own special way. And now I have this really cool stuff to decorate the things I haven't decorated yet. So that was very nice. And after washi tapes, we have tickets. And I've already used some of those too. So I think these are all the ones I have left. But I made, they're just like regular cardstock tickets that came like from 7 Gypsies, I think. And I got them at like Tuesday morning. I have a bunch of little packets of them because they were 99 cents. And I never used them. So I inked them up, splattered them, painted them. So they have like stars painted on them. And then I embossed in white some moon phases. And these are the ones I have left. And I love them. They're very mixed media, grungy, but also on brand for what we're doing here. And then snippet strips was the next one. Although this was the very last thing I did. And it was very productive, as you can see. And I even did a tiny one. Yeah. And so I tried to hit a couple different styles. It was also really fun to do these because I got to use up some stickers that I get from like Sticky Club in them. So I tried to keep the stitching really simple and not like super crazy, but I wanted to make sure that these were very secured. So this one I did, I used all of these little cat space alien style stickers, and they're like rainbow holographic, which is just so satisfying to me. But I also got to use up some washi tape I got in those monthly boxes. So it was just a lot of fun to use up some of these stickers that I've been sitting on for a while. And this rainbow is such a cool effect. So I love that one. Also, I got a little like mixed media because I dripped in some black and silver like color from my mermaid markers that I'm trying to use up right now. So I dripped that in there, and I really love that effect. And I kind of wish I had done it to all of them, but I don't want all of them to be drippy mixed media look. So there's that. So we have this one. I don't know the best way to focus on these. which is another fun one. This one's sort of in a lighter papery color. I think I was down to like the very last of my scraps when I did this one, so it was like mostly book page with some of the pieces left behind. And all of this is like backed on whatchamacallit, paper bag. I have a white paper bag I used, but also one of these, I think it's this one, is like the stuff that, like the paper they wrap paper towels in. Every time we unwrap one of those at like work, I take that paper. And this is, I think, from that. And then the other ones are on the back of the white paper bag that I had that I cut down for this. And then this one, I did more like in a cluster style. How do I show it? It's upside down. No, it's not. Only this one is. Okay. I did this in like a cluster style. So I kept them pretty secular so I can cut them apart. And those will make really great like topper decorations for stuff. So like maybe like the notepads or something, or the booklets, I could pop one of these on. And I also used my stickers for these. She's really cool. I don't know if you can see her because I don't know where the focus is. But I love her. And then got this like really cool piano full of stars. And just some fun with stickers. This one I did this direction. And so these will be fun to cut apart and use to like embellish stuff, to do some decoration. So I did those cluster style. And then this is the last one I did more collage style, but I used the entire sheet of these like galactic girl stickers. And I think I'll cut these down into like tags and just have them be the focal point. I will say though, I noticed with a lot of these like stickers, I'm gonna have to go back and like re-glue them. They are not as sticky as I would prefer a sticker to be. So I did manage to hit all of them with the sewing machine, but I noticed while I was sewing that some of them were already starting to lift, and I was like, that's the opposite of what you're supposed to do when applied to paper. So that's a little bit disappointing, more for the quality of the stickers than the project. I'm going to re-glue them and they'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. But that's this one, and I was happy to use up that sheet of stickers. And then the last ones I did were another cluster style, but smaller. So I think this will make really fun, tiny embellishments. And I got to use these little, like, celestial animals that have little moons and stars on them. A lot of them are sleeping, which is just really precious. And they're, like, Twinkie style. 2-inchy Twinkies. I don't know if you guys were ever in that phase where you made inchies and Twinkies. I did. So it was fun to sort of go back to that a little bit, that well, and do it. And then I stitched over them with gold thread, which I was for sure was like certain was going to break, but it never broke while I was stitching this. So that was a godsend. And I really like how they came out. I like how extra sparkly they are because they're stitched in gold thread. So they're really cute. Happy with those. And then we got some over the page cards, which I also had to watch Cindy's video because for some reason that phrase did not make any sense to me. Because I was like, what do you mean over the page cards? I've never heard this term in my life. Turns out I do know what they are. I just did not know that's what they were called. So that was a learning moment for me. So I made these. And I used more of that space art, and then I added little pockets to the back of them using these Zodiac little cutouts. And I made 13 of them for some odd numbered reason. So yeah, these just go over like a page, and they can either get like paper clipped down, or you can glue like one side, and then you know, like have it be a tuck spot on one side, and then like a flip out on the other for some journaling space. That's what these are. Like, over the page card makes so much sense when you say it and I'm looking at it, but for some reason I was like, what is this, Cindy? So I needed her to show me. So I went back and like crazy stitched all these down. So there's some really fun like stitching work going on here. And they have little pockets on the back of them. So I'm excited for those. I may add like a sentiment to these, but otherwise I think they're pretty done as is. I just love, ooh, I found another one. No, I didn't. It just fell off of this. I just love how these like old style papers still look really good with like this like shiny, I don't know, this vibe that I've accomplished here. I just love how that looks. against like this newer, more modern paper print. And then we had fussy cuts, and for that I just cut out those Rolodex cards because I didn't know what to do for that. And then I was relieved when Cindy also just cut out stuff like really quickly. So that's all that was. I cut out those Rolodex cards for fussy cuts. And then the laminated cards, I made these. This is like a spin-off of those moon phase tags that I made for one of my grimoires. I was trying to think about like that idea where I cut out the circle and then put like the moon phase inside of it. But like those were like backed with like a colored vellum, I think. I don't remember. I put something on the back of it to hold the moon phase. I think it was vellum. Or put something in the middle to hold the moon phase. But I was like, how can I do this but like a little bit differently for the purposes of making a laminated card? So I punched out the circle and then did a punch like smaller as like a planet. Words. I punched book page to make a planet that I had colored. And then added in some leaves and some glitter and some more of that confetti for like a fun window tag, which I suppose you could journal on with like a Bic pen. I think a Bic pen would leave a lasting impression, or you can use it as like a dry erase sheet, or even as like a writing board in the book. But I think these are cute. I really like them. I like how they came out. I also used some stickers that I got and I've had been like sitting on in my stash for a while. And then these are just like punched out vellum stars. And I also love how they came out. And I tried to keep it like really random and really loose. I think these are a lot of fun. I'm very happy with them. I love like the mix of the green with the space theme. So I may incorporate a little bit more nature elements to make this tie into everything else into the final product. Ooh, these are slippery. So I can't just toss them anywhere. Let's see. And then for hole reinforcers, I just inked up and like stained some hole reinforcers and then stamped over them with embossing ink and used that holographic embossing powder again so that I can get like sparkly hole reinforcers. You won't be able to tell like what's been stamped on here, but it'll add just some like fun textures and designs to the hole reinforcers. And I don't know if you can even see, if I can catch the light, where the sparkliness is. I'll probably use these on those chipboard tags, I think. And then for stamped elements, I wanted to get a little bit mixed media-y, so I stamped out on craft paper the entirety of all the moon phases that I have in my moon phase stamps. And then I went over that with gelato. Yes, I used my Brights gelato because I realized I had bought it, used it once, and never used it, so I was like determined to use it. So I went over that and got that like nice and watercolory, and I used some of them in my snippet strips, and I used the rest of them as like page decoration, I think, or ephemera decoration. But I really love how these came out. I just love like the water flowy color nature of it. Oh, here's the random 13th over the page card deal. And then yeah, that's it, because I already did die cuts. And then punch elements I don't have anything to show you for, because that was double duty on the laminated cards. Everything I punched out, like the stars and the circles, were all my punched elements for that. So that was everything I made for the Mass Make March Challenge by Cindy at Studio Lou. I think it was a lot of fun. I don't know if I would attempt it again in the future, but I do like knowing that I was able to do it and I accomplished it well, and it did set me up to make a bunch of books going forward. I do think I have more stuff I want to do for these books, but it did leave me in a really good place to like get started, so I really like that. So I may revisit this if I feel like making another collection series, because I think this is a really good foundation for that. Also, I think keeping it within like a certain prescribed time range, even though it was arbitrary, was really helpful to keep it like not overwhelming, because I only have to work like 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there, and I could add that in to whatever else I was doing at the time. So that worked out really well for me. So I would try that if you are a little bit daunted by the idea of spending hours and hours just making one thing. Like, just give yourself a time frame and sort of crunch it back a bit so it's manageable, and you can just take little bite-sized chunks of it with you. And then, you know, if you're like me and you're determined to have like a finished final product afterwards, give yourself some wiggle room on that time frame to wrap it up, so that you don't leave dissatisfied with the experience. But yeah, I would try this again, and I hope that Cindy does it again next year. I may revisit it again at that point, but it was a lot of fun. So thanks, Cindy, for the awesome challenge, and thank you guys for making it to the end of this very, very chatty video, where I just wanted to show you all the ephemera I made real quick. If you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate your face, and I will catch you guys all in the next one. Until then, happy crafting. Bye!